Good Saturday afternoon. KVUE News at 5 begins this Saturday with breaking news. A new massive data release from the city of Uvalde related to the 2022 Robb Elementary School mass shooting today. After a years-long court battle with Texas news outlets that included KVUE and our sister stations, the city of Uvalde released video, audio, and documents tied to the mass shooting where 19 students and 2 teachers were killed inside Robb Elementary School more than 2 years ago. Now, we do want to warn you, some of the audio you're about to hear can be difficult to listen to. KVUE senior reporter Tony Plahesky joins us now here at the desk to walk us through some of that information that came out today. Difficult to hear and read some of these documents.
Brian, to say the least, we already knew there were widespread failures in the police response to what happened on that tragic day in May of 2022, but we haven't seen or heard it quite like this.
He made it into the building, guys.
Newly released audio and video confirming what we already knew about the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School.
Shots fired inside the building, guys.
There was chaos among law enforcement as they struggled to figure out who was in charge and dealt with communication issues while treating the active shooter situation as a barricaded subject.
Male subjects in the school on the west side of the building. He's contained. We got multiple officers inside the building at this time. You believe he's barricaded in one of the offices. Male sub is still shooting.
In the end, it took 77 minutes for officers to breach a classroom and take down the gunman. The release from the city of Uvalde also includes 911 calls from that day from witnesses who saw the gunman approaching Robb Elementary School.
Oh my God, they're running. I don't know why. Oh my God, he has to die. He's going to the school, man. They got to hurry.
And from teachers inside the building.
Take the school. I'm in the closet. I gotta go. I can't let him hear me.
Also released calls from the shooter's relatives hoping to get through to him.
He's my nephew, man. He's the shooter. Maybe he could listen to me because he does listen to me. Everything I tell him, he does listen to me.
That call coming too late, several minutes after law enforcement entered the classroom and took down the shooter. The lawsuit that sparked this release today is separate from the one that KVUE and other news outlets have filed against DPS that seeks records about the Robb Elementary School shooting from that agency. That case is still making its way through the courts, Brian.
Tony, you've been covering this since the beginning and trying to get this information for several months, couple of years now. Why did it take so long? Is it surprising to you that it took so long to get this information?
Not necessarily. Keep in mind, Brian, that Texas law gives wide latitude to law enforcement agencies during an investigation and during the pendency of a criminal case, which we now have, by the way, against 2 of those officers at the scene, about whether and when they release information. But keep in mind, the reason we got this was a hard-fought effort by that coalition of news organizations here in Texas and across the nation.
I'm sure the people of Uvalde were desperate to hear and see this information, but boy, those 911 calls from witnesses, from people inside the school, that's jarring and difficult to hear.
It is absolutely wrenching to hear, and I think Brian really puts an exclamation point on the terror of that day and the trauma of that day that, as you and I both know, because we were in Uvalde recently, that continues in that community.
It really does. Senior reporter Tony Plahesky, great work as always.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Now, this data release comes 6 weeks after Uvalde grand jury, as Tony just mentioned, handed down indictments against 2 Uvalde CISD police officers who responded to the school that day back in May of 2022. Former Uvalde CISD police chief Pete Arredondo and former CISD officer Adrian Gonzalez have both pleaded not guilty to child endangerment charges. They were accused of failing to stop the gunman that day. No more criminal charges are now expected in this case. We're posting more information about what we're learning from this data release online. You can find the latest right now at our website, that is KVUE.com.